I, 25 male, have been dating my girlfriend Jen, 24, for 9 months. 5 months ago, Jen lost her job when her company went under, and around the same time she had a falling out with her roommate. She urgently needed housing but was in an awkward position with employment status, so she reluctantly asked if she could move into my house. I agreed because she'd already spent the night several times and moved in under the condition that she would begin looking for work to contribute. When I asked Jen if she wanted to be exclusive on our second date, she asked what I would bring to a relationship with her. I answered as pragmatically as possible: a stable income, loyalty, companionship, willingness to compromise, and consistent attention to my appearance and hygiene. I didn't care much for the question at the time, so while she seemed mildly satisfied with what I said, I didn't ask her in return. I've held up my end of the bargain, but after moving in, Jen only looked for work for about 2 weeks. She now spends most of her waking hours on Instagram, TikTok, and Netflix. I raised the issue with her indirectly by asking how her job search was going, and she said nobody was hiring, which I find hard to believe. Well, yesterday in the evening, I finally hit my limit. Jen drank a bottle of wine that I was saving for a romantic evening date and spent the rest of the day screwing around on her phone. After work, I sat her down and asked what she thought she brought to the relationship. Jen stared at me for a few seconds as if I'd asked the dumbest question in the history of mankind. Then she erupted, frantically pointing at herself. Me, I'm the prize. From my perspective, this was coming from a woman who had just gotten day intoxicated off wine, watched Netflix, and ate all my food. I honestly couldn't contain myself and I burst into laughter. Every time I looked back at her, she would give me this incredulous look while shrugging, which only made me laugh harder. Jen got really angry at me and let out this wailing shriek sort of sound. She stormed off to another room, where I'm 100% sure she just screwed around on her phone more. I haven't talked to her since. I feel like I might have gone too far here. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I laughed when I read it because I agree with you. If she can ask you that question and you're able to provide a very good answer, she should be able to do the same. Girlfriend or not, you should give her a deadline to find a job, or she may need to move back in with her parents. She needs to not only bring herself to the relationship, but also some finances, groceries, and cooking and cleaning skills. What makes her think she can just freeload off of you? I'm the prize? Girl, please, what an arrogance. No person is a prize. No person decides they're a prize, and certainly not a Netflix-watching bum. At this moment, I doubt she was really in such a difficult position as to move in with OP. OP is a kind-hearted person. More than me, because there's no way I would let my 5-month-old relationship move in with me. He must set a deadline, or even better, kick her out. Her audacity is astonishing. The girl probably agreed to exclusivity the first time she visited his place. Kick her out. It's not a coincidence she had a falling out with her roommate at the same time she lost her job. She has no intention of working or contributing to anything. She's a parasite looking for a host. OP, please do yourself a favor and don't have unprotected intimacy with this bloodsucker. If she sees that her gravy train is ending, she may find pregnancy as a way to make things permanent. This is the advice I would give my son. Don't get trapped by someone who wants to be taken care of without contributing anything to the situation. It begs the question, what did she do to have a falling out with her old roommate? I think I know. I'm a single dad, 35, with 2 kids, a tween female and a pre-tween male. I have a pretty good relationship with my ex. It was my daughter's birthday last Saturday, and when I asked her what she wanted to do for her birthday, she said she wanted to go to a pizza restaurant for dinner with a couple of her friends and then take them back to my house for a sleepover. This isn't exactly a very big extravagant party, so I said, of course, and that was that. Now here's some context. My son is lactose intolerant and eating or drinking anything containing dairy wrecks his stomach, but it's not like a deadly allergy, just occasionally vomiting. He can't eat pizza. I couldn't leave him at home, so I told him he would have to come with us. Fast forward to the day and everything is going fine. I ordered my son some fries and some other nice sides like dough balls and stuff that he could eat. He seemed happy. My daughter was happy. I thought it had gone perfectly. Then, a few days later, my ex texted me saying, I can't believe you took son's name to a pizza restaurant. You know how much he misses it. I replied that I thought it was fine and he'd still got a nice meal, but she said he felt excluded and like he was an odd one out. She said I could have dropped him off at hers and she could have looked after him for the evening or even hired a babysitter or something, because apparently he found the whole thing humiliating. Also, there was a risk of cross-contamination and he shouldn't be allowed to just go to random restaurants. So now I feel bad and I realise maybe he did feel a little different, but I didn't realise it had upset him so much. So, am I the idiot? I really feel the dad guilt right now. Not the idiot, I'm lactose intolerant too, so let me correct this misconception. Your son can still eat pizza. Many places have plant-based cheeses that they can make to use dairy-free pizza, and even the ones that don't will leave the cheese off the pizza if you ask them to. From personal experience, I can tell you that while these pizzas aren't quite as good as the real deal, they're still pretty good. Your wife is being completely unreasonable. He felt excluded from eating dough balls, but he wouldn't have felt excluded from being dropped off at home before the party. Where's the logic in that? Your ex is being a nut job. There is no cross-contamination for lactose intolerance. He eats it or he doesn't. If he doesn't, then his tummy is fine, and you didn't give him any dairy. I can understand her concern about cross-contamination if he has a dairy allergy. However, that is not what you said. So, is it her opinion that he should never be allowed to go to a restaurant? I think the biggest thing that needs to happen, though, is a conversation between you and your son, because I would think she was just defending her child and relaying his feelings, if not for the fact that she went so extreme with the nonsense about cross-contamination. I bet that if you'd chosen a different restaurant, your ex-wife would have blown you up for not doing what your daughter wanted on her birthday, or if you dropped him off at her house, she would have accused you of not including him. You were placed in a no-win situation and failed the test you were meant to fail. There is a reason you are no longer married to her. I'm supposed to get married to my fiancé James this spring. James and his mother don't have the best relationship because she got remarried to his stepdad, Ryan. His mother and his bio-dad were on and off again, separated, and around when James was a teen, his mom said she was done and divorced. Around the same time she was dating Ryan. I know James believes his mother cheated, but I've talked to his other sibling and they don't think so. Really, it was a messy situation where they were on constant breaks and Mom pulled the plug. Anyway, James's bio-dad hit the bottle and he passed away before James graduated college. His mom and Ryan married and he hates Ryan. He blames Ryan for the divorce and how his bio-dad handled it. I have personally met Ryan and he's a decent guy. James confirmed with me that Ryan had only been polite to him and he didn't have any complaints against the guy besides blaming him for the divorce. He also doesn't cause drama at events, just acts like a normal guest. Regarding the main issue, we sent out invitations for the wedding, but he didn't invite his stepdad. I didn't know this at the time the invites were sent out, but he told his mom that while he may be her husband, he is not his family and isn't invited. It's his event and he can decide who to invite. It didn't go well, to put it bluntly. Invites to Halloween parties happened and the invite was just addressed to him. I was not included. We called her up and he asked why I wasn't invited. His mom told us that I may be his future wife, but I'm not family to her and she gets to decide who to invite to her event. Big fight over the phone. I know his mom is making a point, it's very obvious, and I personally would be angry to not have my spouse invited to a wedding. I get her point. I'm not thrilled I got pulled in, but again, I know she's making a point. I told my future husband that he should invite his stepdad, and it's hypocritical to be angry that I'm not invited to a family event when he started this by not inviting Ryan. He sets the standards and his mom follows them. He told me it's not the same. I told him it really is, especially when your beef with him is over your mom remarrying. We got into a fight and he called me a jerk. Not the idiot. The stepdad is not responsible for anyone's behavior but his own, so blaming him for his father's alcoholism is not fair. Additionally, leaving him out of the wedding is spiteful and petty, showing you how immature he is that he doesn't recognize the hypocrisy of it all. I get people saying you should stay out of it, but everyone in that family seems to be dragging you into it one way or another. You're marrying someone who is mad at a person who's never been anything but in the wrong place at the wrong time and for something someone else did. Did you never think at any point he could do the same to you? I get not being buddy-buddy with his stepdad, but hating him for his father's own actions is ridiculous, and for me, a person who can't reflect and change their opinion on people who have again done zero things wrong is not a person for me. I would dig into your morals and what morals you want your kids to hold. Oh, come on. A lot of people don't like their step-parent. You can't extrapolate that one relationship onto every other part of their life. I'd be more concerned about her overstepping boundaries and controlling behavior. You don't tell your fiancé who to invite from their side of the marriage. You are the idiot, OP. Even if he has his personal traumas that he needs to work on, you should respect his decision about not wanting to have someone that he feels that had a role in his father's fate. My sister passed away recently after a long illness, and before she died she made very clear instructions regarding her funeral. She specifically did not want our brother John to attend or receive any of her ashes. To provide some context, growing up my sister wasn't kind to John. John was also not great, they fought like cats and dogs. As an adult, she sought therapy, recognized the damage she'd done, and tried to make amends. She apologized multiple times and reached out, but John refused to reconcile. He was clear that he didn't want a relationship with her. When she became ill, my sister made one last attempt to reconnect, asking John to visit her. He declined again, stating that he had no interest in repairing the relationship, even as she was dying. This hurt her, and she made it clear that if he didn't want to see her while she was alive, she didn't want him at her funeral or receiving any part of her remains. In her view, if he couldn't show up for her in life, he had no right to be there in death. John showed up at the funeral uninvited. I think our uncle gave him the date and time. In line with my sister's wishes, I asked him to leave. He became angry, caused a scene, and accused me of being cruel and preventing him from saying goodbye. Several family members have since criticized my decision, saying I should have let him stay for closure, saying that funerals are for the living, but I pointed out this was her last wish. He thinks I'm a huge jerk, and I'm refusing to give him anything of hers still. The family is mostly split. Am I the idiot? Edit. It mostly was because they were pitted against each other often, which wasn't their fault. They did the same sport and basically did the same stuff. She also won more often, which didn't help that dynamic, which made him feel invisible. It was a the more you do, the more our parents loved you type of deal. Only the winner got rewards and attention. He blames her for his crappy childhood. I didn't have this issue since I didn't have siblings near my age with whom to compete. Our mother was not great, she already has passed away. I don't know why he'd attend if he didn't like her. Was he just there to cause one final scene? Not the idiot, you did the right thing standing up for your sister. She would be proud of you. He can get therapy himself if he's honest about closure and talk to the therapist about it. My twin brother died several months ago. He never stated the wish out loud, but his partner and I enforced his unspoken desire not to have two members of our family at his funeral. It caused a huge amount of drama to the point where there had to be two separate funerals, but I don't regret a thing. It's exactly like you and your sister said. If they can't be bothered to be there in life, they don't get to pretend they cared in death. From your edit, it sounds like he blames his sister for your parents' choices. I'm sorry, he's angry at the wrong person, and it's a big shame. Your parents deliberately pitted them against each other. If your brother had come around, they both could have made amends, bonded, and hated your parents before she passed. I hope he lets that anger go one day. Last year, a longtime friend of mine got engaged to her boyfriend. It's one of those friendships where she and I are decently close. She calls me her best friend, and our significant others are friends because we're friends. They asked us to be in their wedding about 6 months into the engagement, and we agreed, thinking there wouldn't be much involved. When we got married, we paid for the bridesmaids' dresses, makeup and hair, and had a local wedding. The groomsmen's suits were only $90 a piece plus alterations, so we kept it affordable because we didn't have a lot of money and knew our friends didn't either. Now to the issue. Their wedding is in a month, and they've put off every important aspect of the wedding until the last minute. The venue was picked maybe 6 months ago, the dresses were chosen 2 months ago, and the hotel was chosen yesterday. They chose an out-of-state wedding where no one lives, so everyone has to fly in, and it's adding up all at once. We thought it would maybe cost a few $100s for everything, but they aren't shelling out a dime. After everything is said and done, it's going to cost us over $2,000 for her wedding and bachelorette, which is only $250 each, flights, rental car, cheap place to stay, etc. Not to mention that the groom keeps planning things in the wrong group chat and leaving my husband out of the loop on things like what day his bachelor party is and when to get a suit. I've dropped subtle hints about trying to mitigate the costs a little because all her bridesmaids have said they're on a budget, but they're still having to shell out $1,000 each. Then, when that didn't help, I outright told her we couldn't afford to pay for a $400 suit that they specifically asked the groomsmen to get because the place they're going to said that if all the groomsmen buy their suits through this shop, the groom gets his free. She didn't acknowledge anything, only said, "It's not $400, it's $329, and moved on. It's been like that the whole way. Every time I mention that the cost is adding up and it's getting expensive, I get, "Yeah, well," and a topic change. She mentioned the rehearsal dinner, and I asked what the plan was since the groom's family usually pays for that, and she said, "Yeah, about that. His mum was going to pay, but she's not invited anymore. We were just going to ask everyone to pay for themselves for it." Am I the idiot if I just told them we can't do it and drop out of the wedding a month out? We have 2 kids on top of this, and we're not close to homelessness or anything, but we have one income, and she's asking us to shell out $2,000 while she offers nothing, not even a thank you. She just seems very entitled and selfish. Stop giving subtle hints and talk to your friend. Jesus! Don't set yourself on fire to keep others warm. I swear I'm the wedding Grinch, and I often get heat for saying stuff like this. Perspective is necessary in life. A wedding is a party, and no one should ask others to fund their parties or to financially damage themselves for a party. Your friend is being self-centered and rude in not considering her friends and family in her planning. It's awfully easy to spend other people's money. Do what's best for you and your family. Your friend has heard you and doesn't care because she wants her pretty princess party and wants everyone to pay for it. Everyone's the idiot here. While I agree the bride is a bit much being the nicest way possible to say it, you are also a grown adult with 2 kids and should know not to assume anything. Just because you did your wedding one way, pay for bridesmaids, unless specifically told otherwise, presume you will be paying for everything or most things. The key thing is, the venue was picked maybe 6 months ago. Everything else you mentioned after that is mostly moot. Knowing the venue meant you would have known about flights, car hire, hotels. You really should have clued in on the cost factor, and not just dropped subtle hints, but instead had a proper conversation way earlier.